Hey YouTube, it's EvanMagician34, and I'm doing a quick review of the March 1st, 2011 ban list. I'm not going to review the whole list. If you want to find that, just go to yu-gi-oh-card.com, the official site, and they've got the whole list card for card. This is basically about what changed, and I'm not going to hit everything as hard as everything else, but we're going to go to the areas that matter. Okay, first off, the total bannings. Goyo Guardian got banned. I think it's kind of a shame. It's obviously a preemptive strike because he didn't even have that big of an impact in this past format, realistically. But considering how many things probably should have been receiving preemptive strikes, like Legendary 6 Samurai Shi-En, it's kind of surprising that this guy, of all people, kind of caught the bullet, but the others didn't. I mean, still though, he's always been kind of an overpowered card, and sooner or later I guess he was bound to get it. Cold Wave's another one that got the hit. Everyone had really been wanting this one to go pretty much all of last format, and some people even further than that have been wanting it banned. It's basically going to loosen up the format a lot more. It prevents the turn where you or your opponent do the basically unfair play of going bam. Not only does nothing hurt me this turn, but basically you're not going to set anything on your next turn, so my next turn's protected. It's essentially 2 turns worth of no fear of spells and traps when played correctly, so yeah, unfair. Also, Mass Driver got banned. Important thing about that, basically, is it kills some combo decks. Not often you see a card go straight from 3 to 0, especially one that's been around that long. But it happens. Honest and Kalute, Blackwing Kalute the Moonshadow, that is, both got hit to 1. Basically, Konami's little way of saying, these cards were always kind of unfair, and we're going to limit them down so much to where they have a minimal impact. Kind of stinks that Blackwings took that hit this format, because it's just one more deck that's getting taken down a notch so that it can't compete with Samurais. But that's just the way it goes. And Blackwings have always been kind of unfair, and Kalute plus Shura was always sort of, angering, I guess, is the best way to put that. So it's fair. Lightsworns weren't that effective last format, and losing Honest down to 1 really hurts their chances that much more. I think Lightsworns may officially be relegated to Tier 2 forever now. That's a gosh darn shame, because it's a good deck, and it didn't deserve to get hit as much as so many other decks out there, but that's just the way it falls. Dandelion, a lot of people have been getting annoyed by this deck, and the fact that Dandy's at 2, Dandy is an unfair card. So putting it at 1 is definitely limiting Quick Draw Dandy and other Dandy variants. Problem is, of course, those decks were already kind of coming into being at a disadvantage for this upcoming format. So in a lot of ways, once again, it's kind of overkill, but it's reactive. It's meant to make people happy. Another one that got taken to 1, Book of Moon. This card's always been really unfair and kind of overpowered, and a lot of people just don't ever seem to appreciate that. Yeah, it's a -1, but it leads you to so many other good plays. It can save a lot of cards for you. This being gone is going to allow people to do a lot more plays a lot more safely, because this so often could just chain and mess up otherwise big power plays. So it going away is definitely going to have a big impact on the format, even if a lot of people don't appreciate it for the next 6 months. It really will have a key impact. Another thing is, this is one of those cards like Bottomless Trap Hole. Its limitation is probably going to actually have the reverse effect, and people are going to be more liable to play it in the long run. Bottomless Trap Hole at 3, not everybody even ran it. When it went to 2, everybody started running it at 2. Same goes for Book of Moon. I think it's sort of sending a message to people, yes, this was that good. So the ones who didn't get it before are definitely going to take a second look at it now. Also, Gateway of the Six was the only card that got hit for Sams. It got limited to 1. But they've already got Rhoda, 3 copies of Smoke Signal, and the 1 Gateway still, plus a lot of them are running 3 Upstart Goblins, so they're really not going to feel that hit as much as they should have. Legendary 6 Samurai Shi-En should have been at least limited to 1, if not banned, in my opinion, because it's just ridiculous that you have a card that is a free Dark Bribe every single turn. It's not spell speed 3, but that's basically the only difference between it and an endless series of cost-free bribes, and I don't think that's exactly a fair exchange. So we're going to see what happens in the next 6 months. Hopefully it won't be that bad. One significant change was Card Trooper went to 2. That may help the Dandy and Dandy Warrior decks. I don't think it'll be quite enough, but Card Trooper going to 2 will have some impact. It's an interesting and worthwhile play. Archlord Christie has largely been ignored ever since its printing. Is actually a very good card, and it got limited to 2. Kind of quiet for most of us, but worthy of note. Old Spirit Reaper finally gets back up to 2. He's a little slow, and that's the main reason I think he's going back up to 2. But still, he's a worthwhile card. I mean, he can't be stolen, which is less important since Brain Control's gone now. But still, the fact that he blows up means he can't be stolen via like Mind Control and stuff like that, unless, of course, he was already face down. And the ability to rip a card out of your opponent's hand is always good. And he's a low enough level that he syncs well with other things. So it's actually a very good thing, I think, that he's at 2. Debris Dragon, once again, we're hitting Dandy Warrior with that one. It's a shame he went to 2, but, you know, had to happen. He was pretty unfair. He's an instant Synchro and an instant Black Rose and many other things, so makes sense, and he really abused the crap out of Dandelion. Royal Tribute goes to 2, hurts GK's consistency a little bit, but it's not going to affect them that much, but it may take them out of the top slot pretty much permanently. Just that little change in consistency may be all it takes with some of the new decks that are threatening to top in this next 6 months, so this may actually be a pretty significant change after all. There's some other less important ones, like Overload Fusion going to 2, not a really big deal as long as Future Fusion doesn't move. Megamorph going to 2, I think it's going to be like United going up in numbers, it's not really going to have a very big impact. Solemn Warning and Icarus Attack going to 2 is actually one of those curious things. A lot of people were running 2 already. It's just going to encourage them to run that number rather than running 3, which can sometimes stack up unfavorably. But it will prevent occasionally seeing things where you just get warning, 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 and you get really mad because some guy actually triple warns you, and it stinks that you lose when he's already cut 6,000 of his own points, but you can't keep anything on the field. So, interesting to see where that one's going to go. Chaos Sorcerer, as well as his partners in crime, Demise, King of Armageddon, Snipe Hunter, and even Duloran, I think all fit into this little special category of cards that got brought back up to 3. And I think one of the main reasons is they're talking about changing the rules of the game. In fact, it's pretty much a set thing that in the not-too-distant future, they're going to change the rules where we no longer have priority upon summoning. Basically, I summon my Chaos Sorcerer, first activation that can go in, like essentially first chain link after that, I won't have the priority to activate its effect. Instead, my opponent gets first opportunity to play something. Now, what's relevant about that is this guy is spell speed 1. So, if I special summon this guy, and my opponent has the first opportunity to respond, let's say they chain their Bottomless Trap Hole. I can't chain Chaos Sorcerer in response because he's spell speed 1. Which means he gets Bottomless and he never gets an opportunity to use his effect. It takes a lot of power out of cards that were probably, arguably, too powerful because they could do that quickly and only negating their summon could get around it. So, in a way, I think it's good that these cards have had priority taken away from them, essentially. And it's not going to affect cards like the Gadgets and whatnot, who will still get their effects anyway. It's a little bit different circumstance for those guys. But I think ultimately it's something that should have always been that way, and so them changing that is going to fix it, but because we've been so used to it, it's going to feel like we're getting something taken away. But obviously, if this guy can't priority, and Demise can't priority, and Snipe Hunter can't priority, and Duloran can't priority, there's no reason for them to be limited. It takes a lot of the wind out of their sails. Also, testament to how incredibly fast the format's gotten, Gold Sark is now at 3 copies. And since it was a promo, it's running for like about $3 right now at the time I'm making this video, so, I mean, if that even. So, Sark, hey, now you can run 3. Bad news is, by the time you get that card into your hand, you probably already died. And getting that -1 until 2 turns from now kind of hurts you too for plays that might keep you alive potentially. But still, for those of you who like combo decks and casual play, Gold Sarcophagus being at 3 is going to be an awesome boon. Also, another really relevant card change, Skill Drain at 3. Skill Drain is going to be a very powerful card this format, I think. A lot of people are not going to run it just because it hurts them too much, but for those of you who can invest in it and build around it correctly or side deck it properly, Skill Drain is going to be an amazingly impacting card for this format. Also, Ultimate Offering went to 3. I don't think that's going to have a very big impact at all, which is part of why it went back to 3. But Skill Drain, that's going to be a great first turn play against a lot of people, so I'm going to be curious to see what, if any, impact this ends up having. But anyway, that's my quick review of the March 1st, 2011 ban list, and until next time, rate, comment, subscribe, and enjoy.